Welcome back to the Game Fight Show, March Mayhem Tournament. I'm here today with our host, Brendan Riley.
And you're the host, Rob Huber.
And we're delighted to be rejoined here today by expert commentator,
Andrew Nerger.
Andrew Nerger, indeed. What a delight to be joined by you once again. Well, we're here today on a Friday for the 13th day of the March Mayhem Tournament.
Potentially unlucky.
Welcome to Friday the 13th. It is going to be unlucky for one of the games today, either
Viticulture or Blood Rage.
Blood Rage. Well, here we are again. I say it every time, but it doesn't get less true. These matchups are brutal.
These are really tough, Rob, and it's just going to get harder as we see more and more well-established games that have already fought their way through the bracket making progress. I'm really glad to have Andrew here with us to help us figure out which game should move on to the next round. This acclaimed designer from Road to Infamy Games, creator of games like Road to Infamy, Crypt, and After Nova. And then he's got a sale going on right now, Andrew?
Yeah, right now we are doing a pay what you want sale for Crypt. So if you head over to roadtoinfamy.com, you can pick up Crypt for as little as $0.
What? That is insane. Remember, our friends here at Road to Infamy Games, while they are a powerhouse of design, they are also a boutique publisher. So do head over and pick up that game right now, but do not pay $0.
Pay more than $0. Support creators.
Hear, hear. Well, on to Viticulture v. Blood Rage. I have to say, I remember back on day 5 when these two were in their first bouts. Talk about upsets. The earth shook. Do you remember that day, Brendan?
Indeed I do. Who would have thought that Blood Rage would beat out Pandemic Legacy? Pandemic Legacy, we're sad to see it go, but Blood Rage, it's got such big fans. It's got such violent topics. It's got such great art. Studio McVeigh, Adrian Smith, they're really bringing the power with those minis and those dramatic drawings. Yeah, I mean, everybody loves Blood Rage. And, you know, Eric M. Lang, the fans come out in droves for him. You know, some people say Matt Leacock has friends, but Eric Lang, he's got a mob.
Now, Andrew, have you played both Viticulture and Blood Rage?
I have. I own both of those. And let me tell you, I mean, talk about mano-a-mano matchups. We have Jamie Stegmaier, one of the most prolific designers of all time, against Eric Lang, another prolific designer. We have hundreds of miniatures versus little tiny glass beads of grapes. Like, the component matchup is crazy.
Yes, it is insane. We often talk about the degree of similarity or dissimilarity between two games and about. These games, I can tell you, are not that similar. But one thing they do have in common is that they are beloved, as are their designers, as we have already mentioned. This match, I don't envy the voters. It's going to be tough just coming up with the metric by which to judge these two titans.
You know, Rob, I think another thing to keep in mind, both of these games are sort of the beginning of a legacy, right? Viticulture was Stonemaier Games' first game out of the gate. You look at the names associated with this game. Jamie Stegmaier has designed a bunch of games. Alan Stone continues to be involved at Stonemaier Games as a producer and designer. Morten Monrad Peterson has become a landmark in the solo game sphere. Beth Sobel and Jackie Davis, both tremendous artists. Everyone involved in Viticulture is just stomping forward into the game design sphere from when they went to Kickstarter with it in 2013. The same thing with Blood Rage. Eric Lang, you know, he was already a well-known designer at that point, but Blood Rage, it shot him to the moon, and it became the beginning of this trilogy with Ankh coming out actually today. I think Ankh is coming to Kickstarter very soon, if not today. Simon Games, at the time they were called Cool Mini or Not, they made their bones with Blood Rage in some ways.
No doubt.
And Studio McVeigh, really, this is when they came onto the map. So just a lot of big heavy hitters come into the field with these two games.
Well, and they've both toppled Titans, as we've already discussed. Taking out Pandemic Legacy Season 1 and War of the Ring, respectively. Keeping in mind that Blood Rage took out the second-seeded game in Pandemic Legacy Season 1 from its 30th seed position. Here's the thing. You just can't count either of these games out
You really can't. And, that's the great thing about the March Mayhem bracket. You never know who's going to come out and vote. You never know which game is going to get ahead, which is why everybody should be going out and voting at GameFight Show on Twitter.
At GameFight Show.
What I'd like to add is Viticulture has this unknown factor of, are people voting with Tuscany in mind? 'Cause to me, we were talking about two different play styles. When you put that into factor, I don't know if Tuscany plus Viticulture is just too much for Blood Rage, or if Blood Rage could hold on. But expansions in mind could throw this game anywhere.
All right, well, this brings us back to what we call the Netrunner conundrum here on the GameFight Show. 2 years ago, when Netrunner came up against Vlada Chvátil's modern classic party game, Codenames, in the final, the question was, when those two met up, are you going to consider this as one base set of Netrunner versus one base set of Codenames, or are you considering it the Codenames verse versus the Netrunner verse? And I think you've got a similar setup here between Blood Rage and Viticulture.
Right, and I think the same is true for Blood Rage as well. A lot of the diehard fans of Blood Rage are people who have gone crazy with the extra clans and the metal coins and the playmats and the wooden inserts and the who's what's it's and the face tattoos. The people who love Blood Rage, they love it. And when they're voting for Blood Rage, I presume they're voting for all of those things as well. So it is a big question. Are we just talking the base game of Blood Rage, or are we talking about Blood Rage?
That is a decision that can only be made by each gamer looking deep within their soul, listening to their heart, then going to Twitter at GameFight Show and casting their vote. Oh, there's the gong, and that tells us it's time to tune in to Eleanor for the results from Day 12's bout.
I'm here with your results. The Gaia Project failed in their bout yesterday, while the spirits of the team at Greater Than Games were buoyed by Spirit Island's big win. Back to you.
Well, Gaia Project versus Spirit Island. You knew someone was going to walk away in tears.
I am absolutely stunned by this outcome.
Well, it's another one where you just couldn't guess what was going to happen.
I have to think that had the voters shown up and voted differently, they would have had a different outcome.
And if the good listener wants their voice to be heard, all they have to do is go to Twitter at GameFight Show and vote. This is Rob Huber with
Brendan Riley,
thanking our special commentator,
Andrew Nerger.
And all three of us wish you a farewell.
Brought to you by Rattlebox Games.